Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us on Politics Tonight. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. National Council of States meets, passes vote of confidence in President Bola Tinubu. Tonight, our focus is Anambra Agric production push, and I will be speaking with Dr. Foster Ihejiofor, is the Commissioner for Agriculture in Anambra State. Please stay with us. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. A few weeks ago, the governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo, launched a Farm to Feed campaign in Oka North local government area to address food insecurity and hunger. Governor Soludo says the Farm to Feed campaign is a simple partnership deal to end hunger within the next 12 months. Now let's speak with Dr. Foster Ihejiofor, who is the Commissioner for Agriculture, Anambra State. Good evening to you, Doctor. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening on Politics Tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Right, so I'd like you to first speak to us about this initiative, the Farm to Feed initiative of Governor Soludo. What have you done so far, and how many persons have enrolled?
Right, I didn't get the second part of the question. And how many what?
What have you done so far, and how many persons have enrolled?
Okay. Now, the Farm to Feed initiative is a campaign which Professor Charles Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, who is always thinking of solutions, always is every challenge that he faces, to him is an opportunity to yet create a solution and deliver value to the people of Anambra State. The whole idea is to get the people of Anambra State, and indeed the people of Nigeria, embrace a readily attainable solution to the food crisis, food inflation that we face. You know, in the 60s, 70s, and even earlier than that, homestead farming, well, it has been a traditional thing, and particularly in the East. But we all abandoned it and headed for food made in the plant, food made in the factories. Now that we are faced with food inflation crisis, Mr. Governor, who is always, his mantra is, cheap and cheerful solutions, keeping it simple and affordable. Has called our people, the people of Anambra State, and by extension, the people of Nigeria, to embrace homestead farming. And the response has been quite overwhelming. People are like, we're woken up from sleep, wondering, come on, what Mr. Governor has said is very true. Why should I spend $2,500 to buy okra, when indeed in my homestead I can grow okra in that vacant piece of land, or in fact inside sacks or disused containers? So the response has been quite staggering. People calling and requesting for the seeds and seedlings that we distributed during the flag off, and then asking for extension services or being told on how to go about it. We do not have the figures yet, because we are yet, in fact, we will be launching the second phase of this at the local government levels. And then they will take responsibility for monitoring and evaluating the people's response to the call.
All right, so I want us to contextualize this conversation, because successive administrations have always outlined plans to make agriculture a leading contributor to the state's gross domestic product growth. I also talk about sustainable development and improvement of the social well-being of the people, but it never comes to reality. I mean, like you said, the people are now waking up. What is different this time under the administration of Governor Soludo?
Right. What is different is that he's before, when you talk about farming, people always think about going to the field and clearing the field, and they think about the drudgery of farming, and they think it has to also be seasonal. But this time around, Governor Soludo has brought it very, very home, made it so simple and so attainable, something you can do and enjoy it, because it's not just that you can go to the field to farm. You can actually, in your home, where you have everywhere cemented and tarred, you can bring in used bags, used containers, and you put some soil in it, plant your very regular vegetables in it, and you can do drip irrigation using disused containers. And you can also enhance the growth of your plant using waste degradable products from the kitchen. And all of these are very readily available inputs and something easily doable without the drudgery of going under the sun or staying under the rain, or indeed waiting for the appropriate season. So this is something you can do year-round, and you can, even in your flower beds, you can turn those into gardens. Plant your wedu there, plant your water leaf, and you have a supply of vegetable all around the year. So yes, helping people to see how attainable and sustainable homestead farming can be is the game changer.
So how much awareness has gone into spreading the gospel of this Farm to Feed initiative across all the local government areas of Anambra State?
Yes, during the flag off campaign, we strategically invited people from the 179 communities and of course from the 21 local governments. We brought in all the youth leadership of the 179 communities in Anambra State, and the party leadership, the youth wing of it, from the 21 local governments, and of course from also all the communities. And then we brought specific women group who are into farming. So this message has been taken back to the various communities, to the local governments by these people that attended. And like I said, the inquiries tell me that yes, the message is spreading and is being embraced by the people. But we are not resting on that success. We are right now quite advanced with the plan to do a reenactment of what happened at the state level at the 21 local government areas. The transition chairmen of the various local governments have been alerted to it, and the plans are afoot to have them do the same thing in the 21 local government areas. This time around, we'll have representatives of the various wards from the various local governments to attend, and they will carry the message home and receive some inputs to make participation by people from the various kindreds and wards, possible.
Right, so, I asked the question because I know that the agrarian communities in Anambra State are like the largest employer of labor and a major source of wealth, income, and poverty alleviation, hence are regarded as #1 in the developmental plans of the state. So what specific plans does Governor Soludo have to make this initiative more attractive to young people?
Sorry, I didn't get that last part. You said what specific plan does he have to do what?
To make this particular initiative attractive to young people.
Yes, as I told you, we did not just portray the regular farming practice, but we also showcased the urban farming, or if you like, homestead farming possibilities. Besides that, we are introducing some cash crops, some money spinners, crops that are in very hot demand by the international market. We are introducing them. So these are crops that the cycle of production is just about 3 to 4 months. Specifically, we are introducing sesame, which in other language is called Bene seed. Sesame seed is highly demanded all over the world. We're also introducing soybeans. The cycle of production is just between 3 to 4 months, and these are products that we connect to the international market, and we have promise of off-takers. So whoever is participating is guaranteed access to market and a good return for investment. Besides that, we are also co-opting some private service providers in terms of mechanization, and there are some companies that are interested in farming, large-scale farming of cassava. We are bringing them into relationship with youth groups. For instance, in Anambra South, we have a group of youths that we have connected to this investor, and they're developing 20 hectares of land. These people will plant their cassava, and the youth will intercrop that cassava with sesame and soya. And that will lead to, in fact, improved harvest for both the cassava farmer and the youth that are planting the cash crops. So a number of initiatives are afoot to get the youths participate and take interest.
All right. Let's talk about rice production in Anambra State, because according to reports, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, rice is grown on 5% of land cultivated, but represents only 1.6% of the total value of agricultural production. Paddy yields in Anambra as low as 2.1 metric tons per hectare, which is about 27% lower than the average across West Africa. So is this initiative going to address some of these challenges raised?
Sorry, I didn't get the yield you just quoted. So how much per hectare?
All right, so I wanted to know if paddy yields, I'm talking about paddy yields in Anambra State, are as low as 2.1 metric tons per hectare, which is 27% lower than the average across West Africa. So is this initiative going to address some of the challenges raised?
No, that statistics is belated. We have in the state value chain development program, which focuses on rice, cassava, and in some places they also integrate sorghum. Now, value chain development program, which is an funded program, also supported by government, is very much committed to developing the rice value chain in Anambra, and particularly in Anambra North senatorial zone, where we have our rice production hub. We have been able to implement techniques and technologies that are giving us today upwards of 7.5 metric tons of paddy per hectare. I was just discussing this the yield this afternoon with one of our youths who is very much into rice production, and he was celebrating the bumper harvest that he got from his farm this year. He is able to generate, he said, the ones he's harvested so far, he got up to 7.8 tons of paddy. So anybody putting 2 point anything, that is way behind the situation right now. The rice production in Anambra State has gone far beyond that, and thanks to value chain development program that is teaching our youth and helping them to practice better productive techniques.
All right, so good to hear that. But how is this administration supporting farmers in Anambra State? In several ways. I'm sure you are aware that our governor, who is an economist by excellence, he thinks not just immediate solution, he thinks futuristic solution. You know that in this state, he made a promise to really enact the economic progress that was achieved in the 60s by the then premier of the southeastern region by pursuing the palm
revolution, the oil palm and coconut revolution in Anambra State. Governor has been procuring, and to date we have procured and distributed 2.2 million oil and coconut palm seedlings. And this year we added another 340,000 of special economic trees, particularly okwa, akilu, ojibo, and popo, to these oil palm and coconut seedlings. These ones were procured and given free to farmers across the state to help strengthen their, businesses. And of course, oil palm, the Tenera hybrid, which we are distributing, has the potential to yield so much that a family that receives 10 of these oil palm seedlings in just 3-4 years will begin to harvest, and the produce, the fresh fruit produce, well processed, will give you so much oil that that family will begin to earn in the millions, in the 6 digits. And so this is a strategic intervention to lift the poor families that live in the rural areas and those who have land in urban areas out of poverty for life. Now we have been able to give to about 230, to date we have given about 260,000 families these oil palm seedlings, and then many of them have received between 5 and 10 seedlings. So you can begin to imagine what is happening, what is going on. In the next 2 years, they will begin to harvest, and those families will be permanently out of poverty. And now, in next year, this program is going to go on. This is one of it. And like I said, okwa is a very staple delicacy in Anambra State, okwa, which is breadfruit. But this of late has been very expensive because nobody has deliberately gone into planting it or encouraging the planting and propagation of okwa. Our governor, in his very solution-minded approach to things, this year procured and distributed 200,000 okwa seedlings across the state, and that in the next 5 to 6 years will begin to produce.
All right.
And certainly we add to the food basket of the state and the GDP of the state as well, reducing the cost of this very important staple food of Anambra.
All right, Doctor, it was important to hear that from you directly because, we've heard farmers from Idemili North, Idemili South, Inewi North, Agwata and Orumba North local government areas who have constantly denied receiving incentives or support from the state. Some claim the government isn't supporting them enough. So have you identified some of these farmers, and what are you doing to get more farmers on board this initiative?
Well, every human being, the liver twist complex, people will always want to get more. The way the seedlings have been distributed, virtually every household, every kindred and every household in Anambra State, have the opportunity to receive. And those who didn't receive this year or last year will certainly receive the coming year.
Okay, so for those who have received, Doctor, for those who have received, how did you identify them? How do you identify farmers who should be on the program? Do you have a data to that effect, or how did you arrive at specific families?
Okay, now the distribution architecture is such that we have at the ward level, we have the village chairman, the ward chairman, the woman ward chairperson. These are the people, and then the religious leaders from that particular ward or the community. They come together and they are the ones that profile people from the various kindreds. The village chairman makes sure that the chairman of all the kindreds, you know, Umunna, we call it in Igbo, are on, I mean, they all come to the place where the inputs are to be distributed. These are the people that identify the members of their kindreds. I mean, and we do this bottom up. The most economically challenged are given preference. And these people will capture their data. Will capture the name, the phone number, the voter's card details, or any other identity card detail. And so the people that benefited, we have them in our database, so that next time around, once somebody has gotten up to 10, they will not be the ones to get until others have gotten.
All right then, so let's move on quickly, and because this is another good report coming from Anambra State. That's about land utilization, also increased and stands at over 95,200 hectares due to influx of more people into agriculture. And you can also correct that statistics if it's wrong. Today, Anambra has over 160,000 farmers and 3,000 cooperative societies duly registered. But most farmers have made a swift transition from one-season farming to year-round farming, with increasing use of irrigation and the adoption of global best practices in agriculture. Because you're here today, so tell us, how easy is it to acquire land in Anambra, especially for farming?
Well, there are farming clusters across the state, especially for rice, cassava, etc. Now, farmers that hail from these production areas, you know, they're part of cooperatives, and as part of the cooperative, they get access to land that belongs to the area which has been allocated to their cooperative for farming. We also have family-owned land. We'll have village-owned lands and kindred-owned lands, which are available to farmers to use. As a state, we have some lands that when farmers apply for them, they are given access, depending on what exactly they want to plant. It has to be annual, so that you don't stay there. We also have some inherited farm settlements where farming families are living, and they are using, the land to produce, the crops of their choice. Now, besides that, there's something our governor announced during the flag off of this Farm to Feed campaign to increase access to farmlands. He announced that people should keep their land busy producing food. Otherwise, those who require land and do not have will be given the permit to use such vacant lands.
All right.
Yes. The challenge we have is indeed with land development. Some of the forests are quite heavy, and to develop them will cost a lot of money. But people are being told.
Doctor, because of our time, yes. Quickly, I know the African Development Bank is targeting 200,000 jobs from the Special Agro-Processing Zone project in Anambra State. Quickly, I want you to speak to the impact of the phase 1 of this program on farmers in Anambra State and the administration's level of commitment to this intervention program by the federal government.
Thank you. Yes, you're very right. The African Development Bank is on top of this program at the moment. You may have heard about the mixed-use industrial city. We have a special agro-processing zone that will be hosted within a land space of 430 hectares for the special agro-processing zone. We are the last lap of the preparation before rollout to developing this agro-processing zone. And besides the agro-processing zone in the mixed-use industrial city, there will be agricultural transformation centers across the 3 senatorial zones of the state. These agricultural transformation centers will be centers of excellence for agricultural practice, best practices, where farmers will be taught and mentored into production that will then feed into the agro-processing zone. And it promises to be a wonderful, indeed, game changer that will make the farming business more lucrative and more attractive to the farmers.
All right, thank you very much. I mean, we'll continue to monitor developments in Anambra State, and I'm sure we'll invite you some other time for more perspective on this. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Dr. Foster Ihejiofor, as a Commissioner for Agriculture, Anambra State, as we take a look at Anambra Agric production push. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too. And thank you so much for watching, everyone. It marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight, but you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke WO using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. I'll see you tomorrow.